Hey guys, Tom Davidson and Landon back with Yard Work, and we've got Coach Downs from Spalding University with us today. Another Louisville, Kentucky program that we utilize a lot for our Louisville and 16U national events. Coach, thanks for coming on with us.
Thanks for having me, guys. Really do appreciate it.
Yeah, I know we're all kind of trying to figure out when we should gear up, how things are going, and really want to just kind of touch base and see how you guys are handling it, what you guys are doing to stay active, and maybe some tips for some of these other guys as well.
Of course, yeah, it's interesting times to say the least, and trying to figure out, I guess, what resources you guys have, and I'll make this story quick, but kind of when everything went down, the Thursday that the NCAA started to cancel winter and spring championships, we were actually on a bus to Florida for our spring break trip, and all the things are starting to happen, and the guys are on their phones, and you're literally locked on a bus with 36 players, and they're all kind of asking questions, and we had to make a lot of quick decisions at that point, and that's kind of what it's been. I think everybody, you want to start putting an emphasis on the academic side, certainly, and give our guys the resources to kind of transfer to online classes, because we've made that transition just like I think everybody in the country at this point. So that's certainly the number one focus, but then trying to figure out the resources they have, and trying to stay in baseball shape, as we like to say. And we're lucky enough we have a full-time strength and conditioning coach at Spalding, so she has Coach Lavender. She's put a plan together for the guys that involves a lot of body weight with some options if they do have access to dumbbells and things of that nature. And then trying to make sure when the guys left, they all had a set of plow balls for the pitchers. Everybody had their Jaeger bands, and just trying to keep them moving. But at the same time, I think us as coaches, when we talk, we just really wanted it to feel business as usual for them. Obviously, it's not. We just wanted to make sure they understood that the academics came first and foremost, and let's go ahead and just start gearing up for next year. And then, Coach Sheriff, my recruiting coordinator, has done a wonderful job. We've really wrapped up our recruiting class, and just keep things as normal as you can in a time like this is probably the number one thing. But
Yeah, I know we've been talking about the creativity side with, what these guys have to do now, because you can't get into a big, fitness facility and things like that, and what they're seeing and doing. How's that kind of transpiring with the guys on your program?
So I instantly, and I think that's the beauty of baseball right now. We're kind of in this renaissance of a lot of different ideas, and people, showing their work. That's what I love to say is, us as coaches, we want to show our work. We want to show how we do things. There's a lot of people that have done that, and they're on the internet, and there's already resources at your fingertips. And really us collecting them and not being scared as coaches to share someone else's ideas, or something that somebody else has come up with, and kind of tailoring it to how we do things, but also giving them videos in particular where, it's that video is helping them understand exactly what you're looking for there. Something as simple as Jaeger bands, I think a lot of programs use, or some kind of band system. Just how much you can really do with those beyond probably what you basically do every day for your warm up, that you can create almost a full throwing program for them without throwing a baseball, in a sense, at least giving that workload to their arm. There's some great resources out there, YouTube. I think it's a really cool time that coaches do that, and utilizing those quickly to just keep our guys' minds in the game has been a good resource.
I know a lot of guys that we've connected with so far are pitching guys, because I think that's the biggest concern everybody has is, what will happen with pitchers as we come out of this? Are they going to ramp up too quick and things like that? Can you kind of lay down what your pitchers are really focusing on right now?
Well, we've kind of broken them into two groups, and I think the groups are shifting a little bit, because the first group was summer ball guys, guys that are going, and granted everything can still change, but we want to make sure that they're ready for that, because it is a little nerve-wracking. We have a couple guys going to some leagues, play a lot of games, and you want to make sure they're ready for that. So building them up to essentially be ready to fire when those start. And then the second group, maybe transitioning to kind of deloading, giving them a little less, and then starting to look at a longer summer calendar, in a sense, and how do you build them up and get them ready to fall to develop. But I think we've got a lot more guys that are suddenly interested in playing summer ball now, and that group shifts a little bit, so you want to make those adjustments as you can. So it's tough without a lot of my guys, they don't even have a net to throw into. So you're trying to come up with different ways. And a lot of it, again, is based around the Jaeger bands, the plyos, and keeping our pitchers in basically their daily warm up routine. Those aren't the end all be all to our pitching program by any means, but we call it the first hour. They're part of our first hour, and keeping those guys in that rhythm, I think, helps their mental state maybe more than anything. But also, if they can keep their base, they'll be ready to go when we can get back out and start playing, and at least hopefully, have a neighbor to throw with or something like that. That's really the whole goal. And the creativity hasn't stopped. You still got to keep thinking of ways, especially as this changes and everything starts to look a little longer. And the other part of it too is just talking with our guys and creating baseball sessions, and using Zoom or GoToMeeting and getting them on and doing PowerPoints with them, and maybe just talking the game a little bit and keeping their minds fresh. Also giving them something to do that kind of where they can see each other and talk to each other. Most of the time they go way off script, and it's really just the guys being guys and hanging out, and we certainly enjoy that.
Tell us a little bit of how your baseball background and how you got to where you are today.
A lot of luck. That's probably where I should start. I'm from Louisville originally. I grew up there. A left-handed pitcher, and to be honest, was very average, but found a way. And being left-handed, I think, certainly played a part in that. So I actually went away to an NAI school originally, and just wasn't a good fit, mainly academically for me at that point. So got the opportunity to come home and go to Spalding. So I'm actually an alum of the program I'm at now. What a cool experience that is, certainly, to be building something at a place you're already very passionate about. I played there for 4 years, and the head coach I played for, I told him, I think September of my senior year, I was like, I want to coach. And during that time, I was actually injured for a year. So I just spent a lot of time sitting next to my head coach. His name's Mike Stosky. He's down at Mary Hardin Baylor in Texas now. He just kind of listening to him, and also kind of seeing what he did for me as a person, because I struggle with a couple different things with an injury and a little bit with academics and things of that nature, and the direction he helped me get on. I want to do that for other people. My mom's a teacher, my sister's a teacher. That's kind of what I was going to school to be. So I still feel like I'm in that realm in a way, because I get to help young people grow up. And I actually graduated. Mike took a new job a little bit closer to home at the time. He was up in Cordy, Chicago, and I got to work with Jeremy Sheedinger for 2 years. He got the job at Spalding, and Mike set me up with him. And what a roller coaster that was, certainly, because I used to be pretty reserved. And if you guys probably know Sheets a little bit, some way or another, big ball of energy. And really to have that rub off on me was huge, and grew me up quick in the game, certainly. And then got the opportunity to take the full-time assistant job at Center College, was there for a year. Awesome experience, great school, great academically. And I got to really be involved even deeper, with the budgets, running the whole recruiting and doing some of those things. And next year, Sheets takes a job with the ABCA, and I was lucky enough to receive a phone call from the AD at Spalding, and I was 25 at the time, just about to turn 26, and I said pretty quick to be back home and to be at a place I'm passionate about. It's an awesome experience, and there were definitely some growing pains, and I've apologized to probably every junior and senior those first 2 years. Just a little bit of a learning curve at times, but I think we got a good thing going now, and just really kind of honored to be there and be a part of it. Something that is very young. Spalding's been around for 20 years, and but had a lot of success in that time.
So having been to that NAIA route and then back to Division III kind of level, what do you see mostly in players as far as difference in players that are going maybe an NAIA route or JUCO Division I to Division III kind of situation?
I think early on, it was the immediate standout was pitching. And NAI, in Kentucky in particular, there are a ton of great programs. And you just saw, and there are guys coming from all across the country to those programs. I think at times recruiting Division III, it turns out a little more regional, at least for us. So you're seeing kind of sometimes guys, we have some good rivalries with some programs around us, and our guys know those kids. But transitioning to Division III and then kind of watching it the last 10, 11 years now, as a player, assistant, and head coach. Baseball in general, because of that renaissance, the talent gap, I just think is minimal at best. And I think it depends where you go. And really, NEI in Division III, I think you have to have a niche. You have to have something that makes you stand out as a program, whether that be price, academics, location. That's what's going to get the kids' interest at first. And then when you start winning, I think you start to attract a higher level of talent. Everybody wants to play for a winner. And once you start doing that, the ball can really get rolling. So I've seen some programs. We've played University of Wisconsin Whitewater last couple of years. I mean, they got some grown men on that team, certainly. There are a couple programs I watched, like Cumberland's down in Tennessee when I was in the NAIA world. Oof, you talk about some big guys, So I think the talent gap at the top is not as different as many people think. But at the same time, there's the NEI baseball in our area. They produce some absolute guys, draft picks, stuff like that. You'll see it at Division III a little bit more as we go along with we've seen it, I think, with the programs we've been playing in particular, and we're just really trying to get to where they're at.
Yeah. Are there any tech pieces or anything that you guys utilize in your program? You guys talk about driveline, you talk about Jaeger bands, things like that. Being a pitching coach myself, know a lot about, all the things you're talking about, but what are some things that really help your program and help develop arms? Because, at that level and even at our level at Division II, we're not getting guys all the time that, not every one of our arms is throwing 90 miles an hour when we first get them. So how do you guys take those guys to the next level and get them from 82 to, 88?
It first and foremost starts in the weight room. So about 6-7 years ago, we built a $1 million weight room. Was a huge step for our athletic department in general. And along with that, hiring a strength and conditioning coach that's full time. And we don't have football at Spalding, so I like to say we're the football team when we're in there. We play really loud music. The guys, they really get after. We have a great culture with that because obviously there's some hoops and things you have to jump through with Division III, and the culture with that creates a dynamic where those dudes are in there all year round. And it's I think been the biggest step for us from a baseball perspective, both on the pitching and hitting side. And then from there, we've really invested into tech this year in particular, and we were really starting to kind of actually have a hitting and pitching Rapsodo right now. I've been using blast motion sensors now to coach hitters for the last 2 years as well. I've actually transitioned to coaching hitters. Our recruiting coordinator, Taylor Sheriff, he's our pitching coach. He's done a wonderful job with that. And we actually have had a couple guys play professionally here, mostly independent, but we actually have a pitcher right now. His name's Kyle August. He's in the Colorado Rockies organization at this moment. And utilizing the weight room, utilizing a couple different things like drive line, but also allowing some freedom with our kids to find what works for them and kind of build towards that. Kyle had done a completely different program than Jimmy Keating. Jimmy Keating was a 2-time All-American for us, 2-time academic All-American. They were 2 different types of pitchers, but they both developed velocity while they were here. And it's not the end-all be-all to why they're successful, but it helps. And their work ethic first and foremost, but then, now kind of trying to transition and stop guessing. Because we've had kids. I have one now. He's a younger guy, and he's a great pitcher. He actually, I think he had 3 saves for us in our short season this year. He's a freshman, actually at the Indianapolis area. He's just kind of hit this wall and trying to work past that. And I think there's some tech and things that have made him successful because he understands what's best for him right now. So our starters are mid to upper 80s, and he's coming in, 82, 84. And I think he probably led the team in Ks per 9 because he developed his arsenal. And something like Rapsodo, that I think that really helped because we understood what his changeup was doing, we understand what his breaking ball was doing, and built a game plan for him. And that's kind of where the new side of things is. It's a little bit of coaching, I think, has always been a feel. You don't have to feel anymore. You can figure this out. You can find the right information and build a game plan for each individual. And that's where it starts. But ultimately, you want to build on the tools. You want to build their, not just their velocity, you want to build their arsenal. And that's what those tools do.
You're talking about some of those hoops you guys have to jump through at that D3 level. I know as a JUCO guy, I mean, we're kind of the same way. There was no weight room. It was, we were all at the same apartment complex, and it was whether guys were going to go to the apartment complex weight room or if we were using our membership at a local facility, things like that. Can you kind of cover some of those hoops, maybe those differences that the D1, maybe a lot of the D2 guys don't have to worry about that you guys are kind of concerned with and have to really get creative on?
Sure. Well, I think for us in particular, the university takes wonderful care of us budget wise. So, and we have a great network of people within the community, corporate sponsorships that help fund us as well through fundraising things, so we can create an awesome experience for our guys. Division 3, just the calendar is a little bit different in the fall, so it's, I think, about 2 weeks shorter than what Division 2 is. So you have to utilize that time to give them. For us, we want to give them the tools and do a ton of coaching. But if I'm covering bunt coverages in the fall, I'm just wasting time. They're just going to forget it. Why would I do that? I want to give them the tools to help them continue to develop once our time is up in the fall, and really teach them how we want to do things, the way we want to go about it, and hopefully create that culture within the group that they're going to continue to do it outside of our period as coaches, the time that we have with them. So giving the resources and the facilities, but also the tools to do it. Tech, at the end of the day, I know a lot of people go one way or the other with it. It's what kids kind of expect now. We're getting kids out of academies, we're getting kids out of facilities. They're already used to it. They got them showing me some things, how to use this and that and the other. So, but also having those resources that they can use and continue to develop during that time is huge. So that's where, the weight room in particular, when we're practicing in the fall, we're allowed to be with them. Outside of that time, we are not. So, they have to want to go and do it. And I think that's where our team has done a wonderful job of continuing to build on that culture, create that culture. And honestly, the culture was there when I got there, and we just kept it rolling.
So I have a question for you as far as the recruiting side of things go. Being that we are, host field for you guys, how much has that helped impact you with your recruiting? And also to, let's say, Tom, he was a hitter. You're looking at his swing. What's like one thing that you really like to see with your hitters or position players compared to pitchers and things
Sure.
like that?
So as far as like Pastime being at our facility, it's been huge from the start. And here's partially why. Our field needed some love when I got there. It needed some upgrading. It needed some things. And I started to actually run the numbers of, like, we were hosting 2 or 3 tournaments a year, X amount of games a day, how many teams were coming. And I'm doing all this math, average roster size. And I'm showing it to my AD, like, look, this is how many kids are stepping on our campus. This is how many kids are stepping on our facility. Like, we need to make sure this looks great. And it had the bones, and it just needed some love. So we've invested and done some things here recently that I think make it pop. And when you get that compliment when a team steps off field, that's awesome. But you kind of started. I mean, I made sure our website's on the windscreen out there. So, and that was done strictly because I knew these Pastime tournaments, the kids that are coming in, man, it's a layup. You need to make sure that you're spreading it out. Yeah. From a 15U team, like, I think there's some coaches who may just write it off, like, I'm not recruiting that far ahead or anything. It's like, no. They need to know who you are, because they're 15. They don't know who you are right now. They know UK, U of L, Indiana. They don't know who Spalding is. Let's make sure we use that as a tool. And that's where it's certainly, I think, been a huge factor for us in spreading our recruiting, because it's, for a long time, I'm from Louisville. I graduated with 7 other guys. I think 7 of the 8 of us were all from Louisville. Now you look at our roster, and we've really expanded it, and a lot of it is following Pastime tournaments, but at the same time, those teams coming to us, and that's such a huge advantage. As far as the hitting side of it, to me, you want to see a swing that just looks connected. And that's something we've kind of learned with blast motion. You want to see the body working in a certain sequence, and really kind of see a smoothness, a feel to it. You're only going to see a kid get three at bats a game, 3 or 4 bats a game. And you really got to make those. You got to look past the results, obviously, and really kind of break down the swing and look at it. If I see that his hands and his hips and his, just basically his lower half and upper half, if they're working together, and you see some bat speed, that's a huge jump. But ultimately, too, some of the showcases and things that you guys are doing, seeing those numbers as well, again, like I talked about earlier, it takes out the guessing part of it. When you can see some of those tech numbers, and with hitters during a game, obviously you don't have a radar gun to set the other, but you can try to pick up exit velocity, and that's something to where we try to eliminate a little bit of guessing, but also ultimately you just want to see something that's well put together in rhythm. And if you can start there with someone when you bring them to campus, you can build on the other attributes a lot quicker. I may have just rambled there. I don't know.
Oh, you did awesome. You did awesome.
No, that's perfect.
I guess another thing, people don't understand, the level or the differences or how competitive, the Division III level is compared to, the other levels. At the Division II level, I went to an NAIA program, coached there for 2 years before I got here, so I know what the NAIA ball is all about. What would one thing be that you would say that would be the reason why people should choose Division III over anything else?
I think flexibility within the calendar can be a huge thing, and I think people automatically assume no scholarships, you're gonna pay a lot of money. We're the second most affordable private institution in the state of Kentucky, and if you compare it to states like Indiana and Ohio, we're extremely affordable compared to most of those schools. But at the same time, if you're a great student and they have what you need, you're going to get treated well. The facilities are great at most places within our region, certainly. The overall experience is not going to feel that much different than a Division II or an NAIA. In my opinion, you're still going to be on charter buses. You're still going to stay in Holiday Inns. You're still going to, eat Cracker Barrel. I don't know, that's what we do. We love to eat Cracker Barrel, but at least the guys do.
That's
So,
once a week off.
the overall experience is, yes, I'm with you on that. Something about them hash browns, but that casserole, you know what I'm talking about. The overall experience is not going to be that much different. So ultimately, if you can find a social fit and an academic fit, and look at their resume, if they've been winning, and I would hope everybody wants to be a part of a winner. And if the coach is telling you can contribute, you see the way the roster's shaking out, man, there's a great opportunity there for you to step in and win. And I think what the NCAA has done here recently with Division II and Division III, and really modeling the postseason after Division I. You're going to play in a regional, you're going to play in a super at some of those places. If you have the opportunity to do that, what a great experience. And ultimately, you look at it, you look at probably Division II, I assume, and Division III as well. It takes a while to build that resume and get into that group. And if you can be a part of a program that's already doing that, get on it, no doubt. So I think overall, just the fit socially and academically is where you got to start. And then from there, if you believe in what the coach is telling you and you believe what the program is selling to you, jump on it, because it's really not going to be any different.
You guys have a roster size limit or anything like that?
We don't. We usually try to carry around 35 to 40 is where we want to be. But as far as Division III, it can vary.
Yeah, just want to know, just because of all these players are probably going to be wanting to try and find a home this year with what's going on. Unfortunately, or fortunately, but basically, college baseball is going to be really, really good the next 3-4 years because of the depth that's going to trickle, all over the place. People want to play baseball, so it's, a side effect of what's going on. I still feel for the seniors, that, what had happened, and I hope high school ball happens. It doesn't really look like it's going to, but if it does, that's great. If it doesn't, then they got to find a home if they haven't found one yet. So a lot of programs like yourself are going to be, getting a lot better, than this.
Yeah, I mean, right now we only had a very small senior class, and 3 of the 4 were already working on their masters. That's been a huge advantage for us as a selling point of the university. Is there's ways to fast track their education at Spalding. So we have a lot of guys that'll graduate a year early and already start working on their master's program and a couple different things. So we have 2 guys in the business program right now, one in nursing, and then the other one, he's graduating with his bachelor's in social work this year, and he's already decided he wants to come back and do his master's. So it looks like all 4 of our seniors are coming back, and 2 of them in particular have been the last 2 players of the year in our conference. So excited about that. But I also think with us having those master's programs, and I'm sure there's other universities right now thinking that too. And I think being located where we are, if kids want to come home or be in a bigger city, we're certainly looking out for the best that might have one year left and they just are at a university, or at a college that doesn't offer master's programs. We're certainly open to that. And that's been honestly an advantage for our program for a while. Is we've done well with junior colleges, but ultimately we get some kids that decide they want to come home or be in a big city or something of that nature. And we certainly look forward to that, because I do think that's going to help build our depth. And at the same time, we've recruited quite the freshman class, I think, and we're excited about those guys jumping in and contributing, and kind of thinking about like, wow, we're going to return all our starters, and then we're going to add some of these big time arms that we got, a big bat here or there. It's exciting. It's going to, and you're 100% right, super competitive. It's probably a little unfair to the freshmen in some extent, but ultimately, like we told them, we want to win, and this probably something that will help us a ton next year. So.
Yeah, you pulled back to that winning thought. Do you ever give Sheets a call and talk to him about, getting to 100 wins and maybe give your old coach a hard time about it?
I beat him to it, which was kind of nice. But obviously what he's done with the ABCA ultimately has been extremely impressive. And we haven't got to talk a ton, probably as much as he'd like to in particular. But I think I saw him at convention, and he spoke this year, and talking with him afterwards, and just seeing like the joy in his face again, coaching. He's definitely in the right spot, and certainly happy for him. But yeah, I gave him a little ribbing about, are you at 100? Or you're playing a little slow, but the way they were going, he was going to pass me at some point, But any IA schedule can be daunting, but he's got a good thing going on here.
Well. Yeah, that's good stuff. I like Sheets. He's a great dude.
He's awesome. Big personality, and what you see is what you get. That's for sure.
Did you always think that you were going to be into coaching? And if not, then who was it? Who was your inspiration that got you into coaching?
Yeah, like I said, I came from a family of educators. You throw a rock in the city of Louisville, you're going to hit an aunt, uncle, cousin, or my mom at one of the high schools around town, to be quite honest. So I always knew I wanted to be a teacher. I don't think I ever really wavered on that. I always wanted to do something to help people. And I think initially my high school coach, his name's David Burns, he actually just recently retired. He was the big inspiration, because what he did for all of us, and I can think back to a lot of my teammates and where we were as people, and getting us all on the same page was just an awesome thing. And I respect that man to no end, and thankful for him. He definitely was the reason I wanted to be a teacher and wanted to coach. And I think he's a big part of it, besides my mom, certainly. And then getting into college again, like my college coach and what he did for me, kind of having a couple missteps myself, that really sealed it. So I've thought about other things. I couldn't even tell you what else I'd be doing at this point, to be quite honest. I love what I do, and certainly enjoy it. And there's some headaches at times, but very lucky to have the group I do now. They made me fall back in love with the game every day, just with their passion and their energy. And they're also great students. That's one thing we don't really have any academic issues, and I commend them. I mean, I'm so happy about that, and we try to celebrate that. There was a moment this year during our season earlier. We were playing at home, night game. We were hosting a little classic, and guys, we won, and the guys seemed kind of down. I'm kind of thinking like, what's going on? I don't know what they expected. And I looked at them, I just said, we have to celebrate every little victory. So as a college coach, we just try to find victories throughout the year when our guys get great grades, when they do something great in the community, when they get involved with other activities on campus. We want to celebrate those things, and creating that culture within the group just creates this positivity that kind of flows from person to person every day. It's awesome. So at the end of every practice, we try to, or at the beginning of every practice, we try to celebrate something that's going on within the group. And that's why you do it. You get caught up in wins and losses, you'll drive yourself nuts. But if you take care of the other things and create a great environment, usually the wins come along with it.
All right. Hey, Coach, I appreciate you coming on with us. We'll let you get back to some normal day here, but hopefully we get back on the field soon. And I know for us, we're looking forward to June and July to get down there. And, always we love coming to Louisville. It's one of our favorite spots to go. So hopefully we can get to that point.
Hey, all I got to do is take care of the field. So I promise when you guys get there, it's going to look great. I promise you that. So thank you guys very much. Appreciate the opportunity.
Perfectly.
Oh, you know it. That's all I got, man. So we'll make sure it looks good for you. Looking forward to it, fellas. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.